Hit it, Jeb. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Jeb, remind me who the person was. I'm going to be honest with you. It's so much has happened since the show that I don't remember who we were talking about again. Oh, yeah, I thought you meant a public figure. Yep, he's always said that. Yeah. She'd probably beat me to a pulp, yeah. Samantha here could probably beat me up.
I'm willing.
No, we've got.
Saying.
Oh well, we've got to get. I mean, Samantha and I are on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we couldn't. I couldn't get the Zoom camera on because it's not on this computer. But we got Samantha and I. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. definitely know what you believe. Yeah. You know, Jeb. I thought to myself towards the end because there really wasn't a whole lot of fighting on the show today, which I was really proud of everybody. And then towards the end, it kind of started, and I almost got on and said, "Come on, guys, we were doing so good. We were getting so close." Hmm. Yeah, I've got nothing else to add on that topic.
I didn't hear the show previously, so I don't know. I don't know what exactly y'all talked about, so I don't want to really say anything because I don't know. Hmm. Hmm. Sure. Well, and I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but I personally feel like, kind of like what we learn in graduate school and, psychology and all of that is that you have to look at whole person health, right? Mental health, physical health. And I think anything political like that, you have to do that as well. Like you can't just be a statistics person, but you have to also have to look at reality and how it affects people and, you know, human society in general. Like, we have to consider from every side, that's just always what I've thought. But
I agree.
yeah,
I
yeah.
agree 100%.
Something weird happened. It's like in this side, this side.
Yeah. No. If math had been a vibe, I wouldn't have struggled so hard in school. Yeah.
Does it do it to you? Okay.
Yeah. Jeb? Yeah.
Like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Mm-mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually didn't know about that. But that's pretty insane. I mean, my first thought reaction, I guess, would be, you know, well, a lot of homeless people have severe mental illness, and under any other circumstances would be, what they call like a ward of the state or something. Um, I do think it would be a good idea to save them from themselves, kind of like as far as putting them in a warm, safe place, because not everybody has the cognitive ability to make that decision for themselves. Even if a homeless person feels like they don't want to go or they don't want to do those things, they may not have the cognitive ability to understand the dangers of being out in the dead winter, snow, all that stuff. And I mean, also, there's people who are suicidal. So I think there should probably, I don't know what the situation is in New York, but there should probably be more, hands in on, assessing the homeless and helping them out, and just kind of, yeah, I think that's probably a good idea if they're making them come in to a warming station, because I mean we have warming stations here, but we don't make people come.
You can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think taking into consideration people who don't have the cognitive ability to make that decision, they shouldn't die in the street. Yeah, I don't think that's cool at all. So, but yeah, I understand giving people autonomy and, letting them make their own decisions and, all that good stuff. But I mean, it's also not healthy or safe for them. It's like almost committing suicide if they do that. So, yeah, I think regulating that. Mm. Yeah. Cool, sweet. Yeah. So I got my bachelor's in psychology, and I wanted to go to grad school, and it ended up being, I graduated like, I think July 1st, and I started grad school July 3rd. And I decided to go into social work because my first initial thought was I want to be a counselor. I still would like to get my clinical license at some point, but I started grad school and I had to do 2 internships, a generalist and a specialist. And I've always been very, very passionate about domestic violence. I could talk forever about things like that. So I decided I would reach out to Center of Hope here in Columbia and, ask if I could do my internship. I ended up doing both internships there. I actually got special permission from my school. I graduated from LSU, and they gave me permission to do my generalist and my specialist internships there. And it was an incredible experience. And I'm sure, I don't know if you know Cindy Sims, but she is a truly selfless person. Everyone at that organization, they go above and beyond. They do things, outside of working hours just to help somebody. And I admire that. And I have that same kind of advocacy and, interest in helping people. And I just really thoroughly enjoyed every day I got to be over there. And, serving the families and the kids and, people who are in need, going to court with them and, just walking side by side, because it's their journey, but it's an honor. I always say it's an honor to be a part of somebody's journey, because it can be lonesome, like, especially if you've gone through domestic violence and, you're scared, you're afraid of,
You feel alone in the world.
Yeah, you feel alone. And just to have somebody in your corner that, can advocate for you and just be there for you, or at the very least just sit there and just be like, hey, you know what? This sucks, like, absolutely. So
sometimes you need that.
Sometimes you do. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of that. And Cindy actually walked in one day and she was like, what's your dream job? And I said, I don't know, because at the time I was having like a little existential crisis because I'm doing all these things at Center of Hope, and I'm like, I love this. Like, it never, not one day felt like a job to me. And I'm kind of went through this thing of like, well, do I want to be a counselor because I really love this macro work, And Cindy goes to Westminster Presbyterian, where Reverend Kane is the pastor or reverend over there. And she said, well, Room in the Inn is looking for a director, and I actually recommended you. And so you don't have to, like, take it. So I went through this whole thing of, like, should I? I'm still in grad school. Like, what do I do? Lord help me, literally, So I ended up, praying a lot about it because I go to church. I have a strong faith. And so I don't like to make decisions like this without the big G-O-D. You know what I'm saying?
Amen to that.
So I prayed. I was like, Lord, this is not me at all. Lead me where you want me to be. Because at the end of the day, commit your actions to the Lord, right? And I wanted my degree. I wanted my education and everything I did to be, for God and wherever He wanted me. So I felt called to be like, you know what, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do this. And Reverend Kane, so I was hired, I guess December 2024. So I've been with them a little over a year now. They have a long history. Actually, this is our 10-year anniversary with, Room in the Inn being in existence. But they have been working on this house, Grace House, for the past 3 years. It was donated, and we've had volunteers and incredible people come in and, redo this. And finally, we had some tough times getting those codes passed, I will tell you. But finally, we got to have our first family in there December 11th of this past year. And so our focus is families with children, because we only have 4 rooms. Of course, I'm a dreamer, and I foresee great things happening with Room in the Inn and our mission. I would love to see individual homeless shelters at some point, because me personally, I'm the only employee. So anybody that reaches out to me, I never turn them away. Like even if if they don't qualify for Grace House, I'm not turning them away. I try to give them resources, clothes, food. I've wrote verification letters, for them to get in other programs. I think it's important. Like if you can do something, you should do it. But just with Grace House alone, our focus is with families and children who, have experienced like maybe being evicted or like, for example, our first family, she was a single mom, had gotten thrown out of her boyfriend's house. She was pregnant, had a little 1 year old, sweet, sweet 1 year old. And she just needed somewhere temporarily to, reset, just reset, get a job. She got a job, saved up money, paid off her car, found a place to live with her and her kid, her baby's due in April. She actually planned on moving out before April. She expected to leave around April, but she came into my office about 2 weeks ago and was like, "Hey, I actually found somewhere to go." So
Aw.
that's incredible. We want to see that, and it's temporary because we only have four rooms. So I would love to see longer term homelessness shelters open up here because I do think the need is growing. Because it's now illegal basically to be homeless in Nashville. And if you notice, there's a lot more homeless people showing up, and that's because they're migrating. They're coming down from Nashville because they get arrested for sleeping on city property. So they're kind of leaving Nashville. I mean, there's still a huge homelessness population there for sure, but that's why we're seeing an increase down here in Columbia. And I think long term we'll need something for our individuals and couples and things like that. But Room in the Inn just being a little, small mom and pop, nonprofit, we figured, this is the best way we can utilize this space because, there's so many people that, get thrown out or can't afford their bills and, they find themselves, well, what do? I have kids, and reaching out to CPS is a huge stigma. They think, well, they're going to take my kids. And that's not always the case, So it's good that we can be a resource for them and, kind of guide them, walk them into transitioning into the next phase of their life, into more stability. Because as much as I loved the families that we've had at Grace House so far, I still keep in touch with them, but I don't want to see them again. I don't want to see them in my shelter. We want them to stay, in a stable place, But yeah, it's been a blessing. I mean, even when, we can't help certain people, I think it's always good to get to just, be there for folks that are stressed and going through a really hard time and, just need somebody to talk to. There's been several times where, there have been people just reach out. We actually had 3 people reach out yesterday asking about their power bills, where they could get help for paying their bills, through Columbia Power and Water. And one lady just, she has been through so much and she just needed to vent, and she ended up talking to me on the phone for about 30, 45 minutes. And, even though I couldn't really help her or do much for her, I was thankful that, I was able to at least be someone she could, talk to and be like, you know what, this sucks. This is not great, guys, But yeah, we're really excited about the direction, it's going. And, I would love to see more things open up in the future in Murray County for sure. I think and this is again my opinion, not room in the ends, but
Just got to clarify.
just in case. Okay, just in case. Everybody's got an opinion, but I think in smaller towns we tend to not want to. I guess the word would be, I guess realizing is a good word, but we don't really want to face certain facts or realities in a small town. And, we've had a certain way of life. I mean, I grew up here, I was born here.
I did too.
Murray Regional.
So was I.
So, I understand, especially, older folks, too. They're like, well, it's been a certain way for this long. And if we're not careful, I think we can turn a blind eye to things that are happening. And one of the things that are happening, and I'm not saying this is everybody in Murray County, because the outreach and the concern and the care and love that this city and this county has for homeless people is awesome. Like, I get calls all the time of, I need to donate this, or I want to do this, or let me volunteer with this. So it may be at a more, legislative level, or, whatever that is, that we're not really looking for long-term solutions as a group. Because we can donate things and we can do, short-term things, but long-term, we have to think about long-term impacts. And I don't think that we've really, or most people have really locked in on the fact that this is a growing issue. And just because you see a few people out here on the street, that's just a small percentage of the homelessness that we have here. Just down the street from this building at, Methodist, is it United Methodist? First
United Methodist,
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You always see folks standing out there, but the thing is, that's just a small percentage of the homeless that we have in our area. I mean, there's homeless camps that nobody sees because most homeless people don't want to be seen. A lot
of them are embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, and they will be run off. They know that. Yeah. So even though you see these folks out here, that's just a small percentage. There's several camps and places where, under bridges and things, where people will find a place to stay and, stay out of sight because they've been told it's illegal to exist, in Nashville. So I think a lot of people don't realize that in a small town, that things like this can happen or get worse. And I think, the biggest and most important thing that we can do is be like, hey, guys, this is actually happening. It's not just a rumor. It's not just a theory. Like, this is real and it's getting worse. You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. I love this question. I love that you asked this question because and I could go on and on about this. So at my internship, that was hard for me to learn. So you want to help everybody, or at least I did when I first started, right? There's I just wanted to literally, I will take you to DHS. I will help you sign up. I will help you every single step of the way. And I soon found out, oh, wait, not everybody wants to help each other, or they don't want to help themselves, And there's been so many times where it's been so frustrating, and I'm like, you have the solution. I have this for you. You can take this and you can do this, and this is the solution to your problem. Mm-hmm. And people won't do it. And that's the most frustrating thing to me as a social worker and, someone in this line of work. And I think having the boundary of realizing you can only do so much for people. You can give them resources. You can tell them this is the solution. This is all you have to do. But kind of like you can't lead a horse to, water, or you can't make them drink or whatever.
You get the idea.
You get the idea. It's the same concept because you just burn yourself out. And I found myself getting burnt out and burnt out and burnt out because I'm like, I really care about these people. And what the most heartbreaking part is when you have, let's just say, in theory, a father who has 3 kids and the kids are having to parent the father. Like the oldest child is more locked in on, hey, Dad, maybe we shouldn't go spend the $100 someone just gave us at Ten Pin. Like, we need that for food and lodging. And that's sad. Like, you see these situations of children having to, like, step up and be parents to their parents. And it's so sad. But also, from a social work perspective, all we can do is just give them the solutions and the tools. But we can't make them do it. And that is so, so difficult because... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're about to get run over. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's hard. And I mean, you could use that same analogy where, as you were saying that, I was picturing, like, there's been times where I've had to, like, I'm standing on the track with them and I'm saying, hey, you see that big train coming? We gotta move. So I can't make them move. So I've got to get off the tracks, right? You
can't go down with them.
And you can't. And I mean, it will drag you down. It will. It absolutely will. Because if you have any kind of empathy in your heart, you want to just take them, and especially if they have cute, adorable children, you just want to be like, let me just take your kids. Let me adopt them, But the thing is, like, you have to step off the tracks. And I'm not saying I'm super great at it. I'm sure I sound like I know what I'm talking about. No. I still struggle with, okay, I'm ready to get run over with you because you care about these people, especially the more time you spend with them. Like even I did case management with Mental Health Cooperative one summer in between my internships. And there, there's some people you just talk to once a month. And you're like, okay, all right, just checking in or whatever. But then there's some that you really develop a relationship with and you really care about, the outcome of their family. And, it's very draining.
It is.
It's horrible, when you can't just fix it for them when the solution is so easy, Mm-hmm. In my experience, it's having someone like a case manager. I talk today.
Neither can I.
A case manager having support, because obviously these people do not know, they don't have community. And I say, like, and I've said this when I do speeches or talks or whatever, is that if these people had community, they wouldn't be at Grace House necessarily. So you can't do this stuff alone. You need support. So having someone like a case manager who knows the resources, like Homeless No More, through Franklin Housing Authority or through volunteer behavioral health, like things like that, you need somebody to walk with you through. And, having that kind of support is honestly like step one of getting to a stable situation. Mm-hmm. And I think the most important or second most important thing would be you have to be active in your own recovery, basically. Like, you can't just be like, hey, I'm homeless, and now it's your responsibility to, make me unhomeless or put in a stable situation. People have to be motivated to get into stability. And you see that, like, with people I've worked with, they may have the simple solution, but they don't have the motivation to be like, I'm in this bad situation and I need to get here. And I mean, even just having a little bit of motivation can go a long way. But when I've worked with people that have had none, they're like, you know what? I'm so, like, I'm good with where I'm at. Like, I like being in this fight or flight stage, and that's a cycle. I don't know if it's a technical term, but I call it chronic homelessness because, there's been people I have helped and I've got them in a stable place, but then they sabotage it by doing XYZ, Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's hard because I really think it's a case by case basis. So it'd be hard to be like, oh, it's 50% or it's 80%. It's so hard. And everybody's situation is so different too. Like, I mean, there's been a few where I'm like, okay, this reminds me of this case or this, but so many people have unique situations. But I think it all goes back to motivation because I will say, at least from my experience as case manager, intern, now, director, room of the inn, my experiences are if they have any kind of motivation, they'll transition. I can almost guarantee it, because if they're determined to make a better life for themselves, doors will open for them, But if you have somebody that's sitting in front of you and they're like, hey, I'm homeless, and it's now your problem. If they have that kind of attitude, which happens, but if they just say, hey, here, now this is your deal, you need to fix this for me, and they have no, like, self-starting, most times, even if I do get them into a stable position, they'll sabotage it, or something will happen, and they're right back, and it's not even necessarily, like, bad on them or whatever, but, I'm a strong believer in, a lot of these homeless folks are in fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And especially like that father that I helped, he has been in this state for so long of just fighting for everything he's ever had. But now he has kids. And instead of, really kind of having that emotional intelligence of, hey, I really need to lock in now because I have 3 kids and, I'm kind of not being who I should be for them. It's more like, okay, well, I might as well go blow this money because, we're just going to end up in the same spot anyway. And a lot of them have that attitude of, well, it's just going to happen again instead of let's fight, let's continue, and that's mental illness, I mean, that's a mental health issue. And a lot of homeless people have that, Mm-hmm. The important thing, and what I always say to every single person that I come in contact with is that, would you like Safety Net? Safety Net is a program that, people who are low income can go get mental health medication. They can go get therapy, things like that, case management through like Center of Hope or Mental Health Cooperative or any of these community health resources. They can get that program for them. Like, it's through the state. So I encourage people to do that because, like with this man, I mean, it's not that he's a bad guy. He's a good guy. He's a sweet man, and he does love his children. But we need to figure out, hey, why are we still in fight or flight? Why are we still in this cycle of chronic homelessness? And how can we help you get out of this cycle so that, you don't continue to just keep coming back to this base level, and that takes deeper and more intentional work. And the first step is you have to have people be motivated in their own recovery. Like, just like if you're an addict or something, you have to realize there's a problem, and unfortunately you can't make everybody see that. And I mean, like in his situation, I love him, love his kids, but at the end of the day, like that's pretty much all I can really do is love them, love on them, give them what they need, try to find another place for them. But I mean, it's going to happen again, it's just a cycle, and that's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
I hate to cut you off, Jeb. We need to take a quick break and come right back. We'll be without intro bump music today because of a different studio, but we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Robert Rogers at Parks Motor Sales Buick GMC.
And I'm Michael Parks Lawrence at Parks Motor Sales Buick GMC.
Together, we're Mr. Bobby Parks' grandsons, and we run his dealership, and we are glad to be part of our local community.
Being family owned and operated, we invest heavily in our community.
We do things like sports teams, schools, bands, you name it. We try to help everybody we can.
The reason why we do this is because we all love this community.
So come do business with us, your neighbors, at Parks Motor Sales in Columbia, Tennessee, right off Nashville Highway, or at parksmotorsales.com.
Discover Prime and Pint in downtown Columbia, where great food meets great company. Join us for weekly specials. Tuesday is Texas Tuesday, with a rotating menu that gives back to local causes. Wednesday is half off burgers and pints all day long. And on Thursday, don't miss our prime rib dinner carved fresh by our chef. Make your night memorable at Prime and Pint, 105 East 6th Street, Columbia. Prime and Pint Butchery and Public House.
Columbia, your Love's travel stop just got a whole lot better. We've modernized our space at 1624 Bear Creek Pike at exit 46 to bring you more of what you want with fuel discounts, additional food offerings, and everything you need to hit the road with ease. Come say hi at the remodeled Love's in Columbia. We thank you for allowing us to be a part of your community. Safe travels.
Hello, I'm Rick Whitley.
And I'm Daniel Pollard from Jones & Lang Sporting Goods. We would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for the many years of support. Since 1966, Jones & Lang has been locally owned and operated and supplying teams from T-ball to college. Stop by and see what we can do for you. We offer a wide variety of services from silk screening and embroidery to our custom trophy and awards department.
We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and Saturday, 9 to noon. Remember, Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Is your internet slowing you down? It's time for an upgrade. Whether you're at home, working from your home office, or at your business, it's time to unleash the speed you need with speeds up to 1 gig at CPWS for as low as $70 a month. Give us a call, 931-375-7777. Local service, local support, CPWS.
The Way Realty is helping to empower buyers and sellers to accomplish their real estate goals. Currently, we have sellers offering buy-down rates to 4.875% fixed-rate financing on selected homes through approved lenders. If you want to buy or sell your home faster, let us show you the many services we offer to help you get the most out of your real estate transaction. Schedule your listing or showing appointment today by going to thewayrealty.com or calling us at 931-580-4669. And remember, Jesus Christ changes lives. I know because He changed mine.
Hey, this is Trip Stoltz, owner of Columbia Ace Hardware. We are excited to announce that we have completely remodeled our store. We have expanded our selection in many brands including Milwaukee, Steel, and Big Green Egg. We have new inventory arriving daily, so come see the changes for yourself at 112 East James Campbell Boulevard, Columbia, Tennessee.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
At Umamua MD, Spring Hill's newest physician-led med spa, it's about restoring balance to your body, mind, and soul. From weight loss support, revitalizing IV therapies, to anti-aging, our services are designed to help you feel renewed, confident, and whole. At Umamua MD, consults with our medical director ensure safe and personalized results. Book today at umamd.com and step forward radiant, restored, and confident.
Stan McNabb Chevrolet, serving Columbia and the surrounding area since 1980. Stan McNabb Chevrolet is family-owned and does their best to make you feel like you're a part of the family. Commitment to customer service is the highest priority. Whatever your vehicle needs are, from sales to service, Stan McNabb is here to help. Stan McNabb Chevrolet is a dealership that cares about this community. Visit us online and get started today. Stan McNabb Chevrolet, where excellence and community converge.
Serving Williamson and surrounding counties, Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee offers comprehensive orthopedic care with world-class physicians. Our practice provides high-tech care with a hometown touch. We offer physician clinics, physical and occupational therapy, advanced imaging, and surgical services including interventional procedures. We are Bone and Joint Institute of Tennessee, high-tech care with a hometown touch.
Hello, my name is Zach Maddox. I'm a proud third-generation owner-operator of Columbia Paint and Wallcover, founded by my grandfather, Ralph Maddox, in 1946. We offer a variety of paint and wallcovering products, but our passion is customer service. We can offer many personalized services and can come out to your house or business if needed.
Come visit us at our Columbia location or our new Spring Hill location behind Church of the City, or visit us online at paintcolumbia.com.
This is David Usselton with Usselton Automotive, located in Columbia, Tennessee. We service all foreign and domestic vehicles. We take pride in our work, and we don't cut corners. We offer a 5-year, 50,000-mile warranty and loan our cars with almost every repair. We are located at 1201 South High Street in Columbia, Tennessee. You can reach us at 931-215-1765 or find more information at usseltons.com.
We at Hollins Pharmacy must be doing something right. We've been providing pharmaceutical services in the Middle Tennessee area for over 60 years. The guiding principles of our business are fast, accurate, friendly, personal service. We do not have long waiting lines, and our phone calls are answered by a staff member. We strive to get to know our customers by name, not just a date of birth or number. We are your locally owned hometown pharmacy, and we appreciate your business. We urge you to come visit us at Hollins Pharmacy, 1608 Hatcher Lane here in Columbia.
Hello, this is Rick Tillis from Tillis Jewelry. What is a full-service jeweler? Experienced staff, custom designers, in-house jewelry repairs, and beautiful jewelry. Yes, at Tillis Jewelry, we are passionate, knowledgeable, and committed to integrity. We strive to be the best in our community and in our profession. We build long-term relationships and become part of family traditions that will cross generations. We delight clients by providing an unparalleled selection, superior service, and exceptional value. Tillis Jewelry, we exceed your expectations.
Columbia Foodland is a locally owned and operated family grocery store with a full line of dry, dairy, frozen, meat, and produce items. We focus on keeping the freshest hand-cut meat and produce items daily with the most competitive prices in town. We offer weekly ad specials as well as in-store weekly specials throughout the store. Located at 427 West 7th Street in Columbia in the former Harris Foodland location. Columbia Foodland. We're here and ready to serve the wonderful people of Columbia and the surrounding areas.
Columbia Power and Water Systems is dedicated to bringing our customers reliable local service. Whether you're turning on a light switch, your faucet, or streaming on TV, our dedicated team members from here in Murray County work every day to keep you on. If you need us, call us 931-388-4833 or visit cpws.com. CPWS, local service, local support.
Hi, I'm Chris Chumley, owner of Expert Landscaping, LLC. Located in beautiful Columbia, Tennessee, Expert Landscaping specializes in consulting and design for all your outdoor needs, as well as installations for landscaping, pools, patios, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces, irrigation, and lighting. Call us today at 931-374-1772. Expert Landscaping, where quality work is an investment in the future.
This is Hal Landers, owner of Landers Insurance Agency. We are an independent agency representing the famous Erie Insurance Group. Landers Insurance Agency has been committed to providing great rates and great service since 2002. Whether it's home and auto or business or life insurance, we've got you covered. 24/7 in-house claim service, we've got that too. Visit Landers Insurance at 514 North Garden Street, Columbia. Call us at 931-380-2003. Our website is landersinsuranceagency.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
And we're back. A lot of bobbing and weaving in this line of work, but that's just part of it. This is her second radio appearance here at the station.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the last.
I love to hear myself talk.
We love you got a good voice, Samantha.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, so let me ask you a question, actually. So in like a theoretical, like perfect world, because I always like to think, about if everything was perfect and this was not Earth, like what would be the best solution? What would you say? Mm-hmm. 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 Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Mm. Right. And I agree. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and I 100% agree. And I love to ask that question because some people are like, "Oh, we should do this, this, this." That is a very, yeah, I 100% agree with that because a lot of things have been stigmatized as far as mental health in these psychiatric facilities. I have known grown men who have just been admitted for severe, like, something terrible has happened and, they go to this facility, and it's not full of, just the worst of the worst, schizophrenia and mental health, all these issues. I think that back in the 50s, the reason why so many of these shut down is because there were proven, okay, if a man and woman didn't get along, well, the man would just be like, I'm putting my woman in this nut house, So, like, and that's jail.
Yeah,
Jail time
jail.
for you. Jail time for you. But I mean, like, things like that, for real, that's, it was so like a wide, broad, situation you could be put in there against your will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was
And it ruined
dumb.
it. It ruined it for the people that needed it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it created that stigma. And so I 100% agree that we do need more facilities. We do need more opportunities for people to get the help they need and realize that, okay, all right, I may not have schizophrenia, but I can go for anxiety. There are people that are admitted for anxiety because it's so severe. And, it's something that they need to address. And it doesn't have to always be, I'm like a serial killer and I need this deep therapeutic treatment.
Yeah.
It needs to be destigmatized and funded because I think places like this are so beneficial. And Mental Health Cooperative has when I first started over there during the summer, so I had to go up to Nashville, and they have this facility actually on their campus, on their main campus, where it's kind of like an intensive care kind of situation where it's 24/7 and they have these, these seats and they have to be strapped down to them and, they have cameras on them at all times and like, this very intense situation of, they're being observed and like, it's so severe. Their mental health is so severe that, they need this kind of emergency treatment, and I think people picture this. I think my mic is like, I'm doing too much in this mic. But I think people picture that kind of situation when they think about a psychiatric facility. And it's not always like that. And it's, it doesn't have to be that severe or that serious to get help. So. Mm-hmm. 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 I think, and this is just, again, my opinion, not room in the ends, but in my opinion, I think a professional, it should only be a professional. I don't think a family member should do it. I don't, because regardless, you know, even if your family has the greatest intentions, their diagnosis could be wrong. So it's a multi-step. In order to get here, we've got to have several steps to get here. So, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We need access to that professional. And we also need our entry level, like let's just say I'm a counselor and I say, okay, if you're at this level, you need to be at this level in order to be admitted to a psychiatric facility. We need that level to be down. We need it to drop because a psychiatric facility treats so many more things than, you know, emergencies. And I think a lot of, and just me personally, I think a lot of, you know, educated professionals that do see these things happen only wait for it to come up here. And I think even in code of ethics and things like that, you know, it has to be at a certain level before admittance into a facility of this thing. And I would say in order to address a longer term, you know, type situation like this, we would have to lower that bar. But in order to do that, we would have to educate the educators, and then we would also have to fund our psychiatric facilities, like you were saying, and we would also have to give people access to get the help they need and get in front of these professionals. So it would have to be a multi-step, multi-stage type situation. But I think if we had that kind of, you know, awareness, or, you know, even in legislature or our president or whoever is in control of funding that, if we could realize that, I think it would go a long way. But again, kind of like going back to motivation and want, people have to want to change. And, you know, kind of like our normal healthcare system, which is not good, you know, I think, you know, nobody's motivated to fix that. So it's gonna, I don't think this is gonna be a situation like, oh, hey guys, here's the solution. Let's just do this. You know, they're not gonna do that because that takes money, that takes things. And when our baseline is that, you know, a normal person, a normal family can't even get the health care that they need, I mean, they're not gonna really be too worried about the mental health status of these people, right? Mm-hmm. You know, we gotta get to some kind of level of empathy before we can start working, you know, and I mean, that's just gonna take people who care and people who realize that our health and our mental health are important, you know? Mm. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I hate to interrupt here, but we've reached the end of the hour.
Oh,
reached the end. But no, Samantha, you've got to come back on this show because there's so much more we can talk about.
Write it down. We'll talk later.
Yeah.
Of course. Thanks for having me. It was great. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Always.